All right. All praise to the Most High. We made it to another holy feast of the Lord. Like to send the greetings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. And today, let's make sure audio. All right, audio good. So today we go talk about the memorial of blowing of trumpets. This lesson will give an understanding concerning the memorial of blowing of the trumpets, and all the Most High feast days have a physical meaning. It's also a memorial of something in the past that the Most High did, and it also the spiritual meaning of something that the Most High is going to do in the future. So we are give an understanding on why we celebrate it and what it is about. So let's go ahead and jump in Numbers chapter 29 and verse 1.
The book of Numbers, chapter 29 and verse 1. Numbers 29 and verse 1. And in the 7th month, on the first day of the month, ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. It is a day of blowing of the trumpets.
So this is the first day of the 7th month. Tonight began the first day of month 7. And today is the new moon, but it's also a feast of blowing of the trumpets. Read that again one more time.
Numbers 29 and verse 1. And in the 7th month, on the first day of the month, ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. It is a day of blowing of the trumpets unto you.
It's a day of blowing of the trumpets unto you. What do that mean? A day of blowing of the trumpets unto you. Let's get some more. Go to Leviticus 23 and 24.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 24. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation.
So in this scripture, it says a memorial of blowing of trumpets. A memorial is a remembrance. A memorial is a remembrance. So it said it's a memorial of blowing of the trumpets. So it's a remembrance the blowing of the trumpets, because memorial means remembrance. Verse 25.
Verse 25. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So when it says servile work, that means you're not supposed to work to make money. You can do everything else, but you can't go to your job. You can cook, you can clean, you can cut your grass, do all type of stuff, but you can't do anything for money. Go ahead.
But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
So let's examine that memorial. Go to Psalms 135. Let's examine that memorial. We're going to read Psalms 135 and 13.
The book of Psalms, chapter 135 and verse 13. Thy name, O Lord, endureth forever, and thy memorial, O Lord, throughout all generations.
It say, and God's memorial, his name and his memorial goes throughout all generations. Goes throughout all generations. So that's the memorial of the Lord, but that was kind of vague. Let's get deeper into what the memorial is. Go to Numbers chapter 10. And we're going to start at 1.
Numbers chapter 10 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, make thee 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shalt thou make them, that thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly, and for the journeying of the camps.
It say, make you 2 trumpets for the calling of the assembly and the journeying of the camp. So this is what the Most High told Moses when he was in the wilderness. He said, make 2 trumpets for the calling of the assembly and for the journeys of the camps. When this is how they, because it was a lot of people that came out of Egypt with Moses. How were they? What did they use for organization? They used trumpets, and the way that they blew them, the people knew what that meant. You're finna read it, verse 3.
And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
So the trumpets was used for what? Order. The trumpets was used for order. He said, when y'all hear the trumpets, y'all know it's time to gather yourselves together. Go ahead.
And if they blow but with one trumpet, then the princes which are heads of the thousands of Israel shall gather themselves unto thee.
Go ahead.
When ye blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east parts shall go forward.
So there were different sounds. So they were cold with the trumpets. They knew how to make it to where it sounded like an alarm, and they knew how to just blow it to call the assembly. Let's see what else. Verse, where we at? 6? Yeah.
Verse 6. When ye blow an alarm the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey. They shall blow an alarm for their journey.
So then they know they should blow the alarm for their journeys. Go ahead.
But when the congregation is to be gathered together, ye shall blow, but ye shall not sound an alarm.
So it say when it's time to gather the assembly, it's not an alarm. So the people knew the different sounds of the trumpets, because the different sounds meant different things. So the trumpets was important because this let the people know what was going on. Remember, it was thousands of them. It was that hundreds of thousands of them that came out of Egypt. So the trumpets was used to keep order. Verse 8.
Verse 8. And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations.
So I say the priests blow with the trumpets. This is an ordinance forever. So the trumpets are used for order. Verse 9.
And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets.
So the trumpets also, they had an alarm that meant we about to go to war. We're about to go to war. Go ahead.
And ye shall be remembered.
And ye shall what?
And ye shall be remembered.
What's another word for remembered? Memorial. And ye shall be remembered. Go ahead.
Before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies.
And ye shall be saved from your enemies. So the trumpets was also how the Lord remember. So go to war, you blow the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered of the Lord to be saved. Verse 10.
Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginning of your months.
The beginning of your months. What's another word for beginning of your months? It's new moon. Go ahead.
Ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings.
So you also blow on the trumpets over your sacrifices. They had to blow the trumpets over your sacrifices. Let's see why. Go ahead.
And over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you
for what?
And they,
yeah, go ahead.
Ye shall blow with blow the trumpet over your burnt offerings, over the sacrifice of your peace offering, that they may be to you for a memorial before your God.
So it say that you blew over your sacrifices, so your sacrifices can be a memorial to God. This is the reason. That's why blowing of the trumpets was important. Well, every time they sacrifice, they had to do what? Blow the trumpets over their sacrifices, so it can be a memorial before your God to you before your God. Go ahead, finish that off.
I am the Lord your God.
So that's why we had to blow the trumpet. So now the trumpets were so important. It was a feast day. It was a feast day because the trumpets were that important. It how we had order when we went through the wilderness. It shows a memorial to when we went to war to God, or went to war against our enemies, and we needed God help. We blew the trumpets. We blew the trumpets to know to come together as an assembly, and we blew the trumpets over our sacrifices as a memorial. So this is the memorial of blowing of the trumpets. They were so important. So now go to Psalms 81. Psalms 81 and hit verse 3.
Psalms chapter 81. Psalms chapter 81 and verse 3. Blow up the trumpets in the new moon.
It say blow the trumpets in the new moon. Go ahead.
In the time appointed on our solemn feast days.
On the time appointed on our solemn feast days. So it say blow the trumpet in the new moon and on our solemn feast days. Why? Because that's when we gave our offerings. Remember, we were supposed to blow the trumpets over our what? Sacrifices and offerings. So that's why I read that again.
Psalms 81 and verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast days.
So that's why we had to blow the trumpets. Why? Because we were blowing them over our sacrifices as a memorial to God. That's why we always had to blow the trumpets. Now, let's get Exodus chapter 19. We're going to start at verse 1.
Exodus chapter 19 and verse 1.
So now we're about to talk about when the children of Israel met with God. So remember, it's a memorial blowing of the trumpets. So today we're going to look at important times when we had to blow the trumpets as a remembrance. It's a time. Remember, the feast days is a time for us to remember something and have hope that how the Most High saved us in the past, He's going to save us in the future. That's what the feast days is about. So we come together and we talk about what happened. So we're going to talk about when the children of Israel meet the Most High. This is the first time when the children of Israel met with the Most High. This is something that we're supposed to remember. This is something that we use as a memorial. So let's get Exodus 19. Let's start at verse 1.
The book of Exodus, chapter 19 and verse 1. In the third month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai.
So this is the wilderness of Sinai. Go ahead.
For they were departed from Rabbadim and were come to the desert of Sinai and had pitched in the wilderness. And there Israel camped before the mount.
Let's see what happened. Go ahead.
And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself.
So he's letting them know, like, y'all see what I did for y'all. I basically put y'all on eagle wings and flew y'all up out of there. Go ahead.
Now therefore, if you will obey my voice, indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine.
So it say the only people that are God's chosen people are the ones that keep his covenant. The ones that keep his covenant are the ones that obey his covenant. Those are the ones that become the peculiar people. Those are the ones that become a holy people. It's not just because you're an Israelite, you automatically holy. It don't work like that. You have to be an Israelite that's keeping God's covenant to be holy, to be that peculiar people. Read that again. That's important. Verse 5.
Verse 5. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests.
And he said, you're going to be unto me a kingdom of priests and what else?
And a holy nation.
And a holy nation if we keep the covenant. Go ahead.
These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
Go ahead.
And Moses came and called for the elders of the people and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him.
So now Moses went to tell the children of Israel. Let's see what happened. Go ahead.
And all the people answered together and said, all that the Lord hath spoken, we will do. And Moses returned the words of the people unto the Lord.
So he went back and told the Lord. They agreed to the contract. They agreed to the covenant. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord.
So the Most High set up a meeting with the children of Israel. At first, he was just talking to Moses. But now he said, you know what? I'm going to meet with them. I'm going to meet with them, and I'm going to tell them myself. Let's see what he told them to do. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And the Lord said unto Moses, go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes.
They had to cleanse themselves. They had to cleanse themselves. Go ahead.
And be ready against the third day. For the third day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai.
So he about to meet them at Mount Sinai. And this is when he's finna talk to them face to face. They had to you about to meet the Lord. They had to cleanse themselves, wash their clothes. You couldn't come to the Lord in some in some beat up clothes, in your gym clothes. You got to put your best on. You got to wash up, cleanse yourself. They about to meet the Lord. Where we at? Verse 12.
Verse 12. Verse 12. And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, take heed to yourselves, that ye go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whosoever touches the mount shall surely be put to death.
Say, y'all can't get too close, because you gonna die. We gonna kill you. Go ahead.
There shall not a hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned, or shot through.
You say, we gonna kill you. That's a sin if you touch it. Go ahead.
Whether it be beast or man, it shall not live.
Now watch what he say gonna happen when right before they meet the Lord. What's gonna happen? Go ahead.
When the trumpet sounded long.
When the what?
When the trumpet sounded long.
They say when the trumpet sound long, you gonna hear a long trumpet, sound of the trumpet. It's just gonna be a long, loud sound of the trumpet. He said, when the trumpet sound long, go ahead.
They shall come up to the mount.
That's when you come up to the mount. So now this is one of the memorials of the blowing of the trumpet. Jump to verse 16.
Verse 16. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount. and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud.
And the voice of the trumpets was exceedingly loud. It was a loud trumpet going about. This is right before they about to hear the voice of God. This is right before our people met face to face with the Lord.
You know what? I could see how that would scare you.
Yeah,
I
right.
bet it was. I bet it was like
Like, first of all, where's this noise coming from?
right. I could only imagine, man.
There was the angels blowing the trumpets.
Man, that's gonna be something right there.
It was a loud trumpet. This is a memorial. This is something we are supposed to remember. This is when we met face to face with the Most High God on Mount Sinai. So this is something we supposed to memorialize. This is something we supposed to remember. And what happened? It was read that again, verse 16.
Verse 16. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpets exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled.
So they all trembled. Thunder and lightning and a trump and a loud trumpet. And a loud trumpet. Let's go to chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20. Let's finish that off. Read verse 17.
Verse 17. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God.
To do what?
To meet with God.
To meet with God. Right before they met with him, they heard the loud sound of the trumpets. Go ahead.
And they stood at the nether part of the mount.
Go ahead.
And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly.
And the whole mount was shaking. Verse 19.
And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder.
So it was getting, so not only was it going long and loud, it was getting louder and louder. Because the trumpets are important. It's letting us know, hey, God is about to talk.
Ain't nothing to play with. That's for sure.
Man, this is something to be remembered. This is something to memorialize. Verse 20.
Verse 20. And the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mount, and the Lord called Moses up to the top of the mount, and Moses went up. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go down, charge the people, lest they break through unto the Lord to gaze, and many of them perish.
He said, look, you got to go stop them, because they're going to try to come up to see me. Like, that's how, even though they were scared, imagine they scared, but it's like you got to see.
Yeah, you're going to want to get a closer look.
It's like you got to see.
Man.
You can just picture, remember this. This is what we're supposed to remember. Verse 22.
Verse 22. And let the priests also, which come near to the Lord, sanctify themselves, lest the Lord break forth upon them.
Go ahead.
And Moses said unto the Lord, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for thou charged us, saying, Set bounds about the mount and sanctify it.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto him, Away, get thee down, and thou shalt come up, and thou and Aaron with thee, but let not the priests and the people break through to come up unto the Lord, lest he break forth upon them.
Go ahead.
So Moses went down unto the people and spake unto them.
Go ahead. Chapter 20, verse 1.
Exodus 20 and verse 1. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I am the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
So now this is him giving, he's starting to give us the commandments, the law. So let's see what happened while he's talking. Verse 18.
Verse 18. And all the people saw the thundering and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet.
So this is thundering while he's talking. It's thundering, lightnings, and the trumpets are still going. The trumpets are still going even while he's talking. Go ahead.
And the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off.
Watch what they say. Go ahead.
And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us.
He said, You talk to us, Moses. Go ahead.
And we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die.
So they say, if God keep talking, he gonna kill us. We gonna die. It's thundering. It's lightning. The trumpets is blowing. He's talking. It's a lot going on at one time. Verse 20.
Verse 20. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you.
God has come to prove you that what?
And that his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not.
That ye sin not. He's putting the fear of himself in them. The fear of himself in them. So this is one of the memorials of blowing of the trumpets. That was an important time that we got to remember. Let's get another one. Go to Nehemiah chapter 9. Nehemiah, because this time was memorialized through all Israel. Israel memorialized this. Nehemiah 9 and 13.
Nehemiah chapter 9 and verse 13. Thou camest down also upon Mount Sinai and spakest with them from heaven.
So this is Nehemiah in his prayer. He said, You came down upon Mount Sinai and spake with them from heaven. Go ahead.
And gavest them right judgments and true laws, good statutes and commandments.
Go ahead.
And madest known unto them thy holy Sabbath, and commandest them precepts, statutes, and laws by the hand of Moses thy servant.
So y'all see this was a memorial. This is Nehemiah praying. This is something that we are supposed to memorialize. This is when the children of Israel met God face to face. And the trumpets was going crazy. All right, so now let's look at memorials of blowing of the trumpets. Go to Numbers chapter 10. Go back to Numbers chapter 10 and let's read verse 9. Numbers chapter 10 and verse 9, because he told us in Numbers chapter 10, he told us why the trumpets were important.
Numbers chapter 10 and verse 9. And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpet.
So one of the times that we supposed to blow the trumpets is when we are about to go to war. It's wartime. So now we go look at some memorials about when we went to war. So let's go to Numbers chapter 31, and we go start at verse 1.
Numbers chapter 31 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. Afterward shalt thou be gathered unto thy people. And Moses spake unto the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian.
So this is a time when we went to war against the Midianites. Verse 4.
Of every tribe 1,000, throughout all the tribes of Israel shall ye send to war. So there were delivered out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for
So
war.
it's 1,000 from every tribe. So we got 12,000 men ready to go to war. Go ahead.
And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, and the son of Eleazar, the priest, to the war.
To the war with what?
With the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand.
That's the only thing they took the war. They took the war, it said the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow. Why was that important for war? Because that's how you got 12,000 people. When they hear the trumpet, that's how they know when to attack. That's when they know how to move. Remember, the trumpets are for what? Order. The trumpets are for order. When is the best time, or when in the most important time you need order? Is at war. Read that again, verse 6.
Numbers 31 and verse 6. And Moses sent them to war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the priest, to the war with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand.
Why did they, and why else did they need the trumpets to blow? Hold this spot, go back to Numbers 10. Hold this spot, go back to Numbers 10 and read verse 9.
Numbers 10 and verse 9.
Because they took all their weapons, the holy instruments, and they took the trumpets. Now some people will say, they going to war. Why they wasting carrying all this stuff? Why they wasting time carrying trumpets? Let's see why. Numbers 10 and 9 again.
Numbers chapter 10 and verse 9. If ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpet.
So if you go to war, blow an alarm with the trumpets. Go ahead.
And ye shall be remembered.
That's why. Ye shall be remembered. Go ahead.
Before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies.
So that's why they made sure they had the trumpets. It say when God heard the trumpets, he gonna remember us and save us from our enemies. That's why the trumpets was important. They like, hey, y'all don't forget them trumpets now. Bring them weapons. Bring the food. Bring the water. But for damn sure, don't forget them trumpets. Now go back to Numbers 31 and read verse 6 again.
Numbers chapter 31 and verse 6. And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the priest, to the war with the holy instruments.
With the holy instruments, go ahead.
And the trumpets.
And the trumpets, go ahead.
To blow in his hand.
And let's see what happened. Verse 7.
And they warred against the Midianites, as the Lord commanded Moses, and they slew all the males.
And they slew all the males. And they slew all the males. So they had to make sure they took them trumpets. Because he said when they blow the trumpets, that's when the Most High gonna remember us. Y'all with us? Our praises. Let's get another one. Go to Joshua chapter 6. Joshua chapter 6, and we're going to start at 1.
Joshua chapter 6 and verse 1. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in.
So now this is talking about Jericho. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Joshua, see, I have given unto thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor.
Go ahead.
And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days.
He said, so y'all go surround the city. Y'all go surround the city of Jericho. And y'all go do this, walk around it for 6 days. Go ahead.
And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of rams.
And they had to take 7 priests that had 7 trumpets. Y'all note that. 7 priests with 7 trumpets
of ram's horns.
of ram's horn. Go ahead.
And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priest shall blow with the trumpet.
So remember, they about to go to war at Jericho. He said, y'all go keep walking around the city for 7 days. On the 7th day, you walk around the city 7 times. And 7 priests go blow 7 horns. Let's see why. Verse 5.
And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up every man straight before him.
So he said, y'all blow the trumpets loud, strong and loud. And when everybody heard these trumpets strong and loud, all the people shout. And when everybody shout, the wall gonna come down. When the wall come down, y'all go in there and get them. Go ahead. Verse 6.
Verse 6. And Joshua, the son of Nun, called the priests and said unto them, take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. And he said unto the people, pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of the Lord.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns passed on before the Lord, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them.
Go ahead.
And the armed men went before the priests that blew with the trumpets, and the rearward came after the ark, the priests going on, and blowing with the trumpets.
So they going on blowing on the trumpets, but this not the 7th day yet. So every day they was blowing the trumpets. Verse 10.
And Joshua had commanded the people, saying, ye shall not shout nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth until the day I bid you shout. Then shall ye shout.
So don't shout yet. Only shout when I tell y'all, which was supposed to be on the 7th day. Verse 11.
So the ark of the Lord compassed the city, going about it once, and they came into the camp and lodged in the camp.
Verse 12.
And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord.
Come on.
And 7 priests bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord went on continually and blew with the trumpets. And the armed men went before them, but the rearward came after the ark of the Lord, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpet.
So they blowing the trumpet. This day 1. Go ahead.
And the 2nd day they compassed the city once and returned into the camp. So they did 6 days.
That's what he told them to do. Y'all walk around the city once, blowing a horn. Go ahead.
And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times.
Remember, we said the 7th day, walk around it 7 times. Go ahead.
Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priest blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, shout.
Says shout. This is time now when y'all shout. Go ahead.
For the Lord hath given you the city.
Go ahead.
And the city shall be accursed, even it, and all that are therein, to the Lord. Only Rahab, the harlot, shall live, she and all that were with her in the house, because she had hid the messengers that we sent.
That's the Rahab story. Go ahead.
And ye, in any wise, keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed. When ye take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel a curse, and trouble it.
Jump to 20.
Verse 20. So the people shouted when the priest blew with the trumpet. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, and that the people went up into the city, and every man straight before him, and they took the city.
And they took the city. This is another memorial about the trumpets. When our people, this is something one we're supposed to remember. When our people took the city of Jericho, what was the important part of that? The blowing of the trumpets. That was an important part of that. Let's get some more. Go to Numbers chapter 10. Go back to Numbers 10, and we go read verse 10.
Numbers chapter 10 and verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and the beginning of your months, ye shall blow with the trumpet over your burnt offering, and over the sacrifice of your peace offering, that they may be to you for a memorial before your God.
So another part of the memorial is blowing over our sacrifices. We read about one of the memorials why the trumpets was important was when we went to war. Another memorial why the trumpets are important is when we blow over our sacrifices as a memorial. So now we go look at that. Why is blowing over our sacrifices a memorial to God with the trumpets? So let's go to Sirach chapter 35, and we go read verse 1. Why blowing over our sacrifices is a memorial for us?
The book of Sirach, chapter 35 and verse 1. He that keepeth the law bringeth offerings enough.
It said, he that keep the law bring offerings enough. People who keep the law bring offerings enough. Go ahead.
He that taketh heed to the commandment offereth a peace offering.
It say the people that take heed to the commandment, they give a peace offering. Go ahead.
He that requiteth a good turn offereth fine flour, and he that giveth alms sacrificeth praise.
Go ahead.
To depart from wickedness.
To do what?
To depart from wickedness.
To depart from wickedness. Go ahead.
Is a thing pleasing to the Lord.
Is a thing pleasing to the Lord. So the people that was given these righteous sacrifices are the ones that departed from wickedness. This is why it was important to blow over those sacrifices, because it was a righteous thing. Go ahead.
And to forsake unrighteousness is a propitiation.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt not appear empty before the Lord.
Couldn't come to the Lord empty-handed. Go ahead.
For all these things are to be done because of the commandment.
Go ahead.
The offering of the righteous maketh the altar fat.
You see that? It said the offering of the righteous make the altar fat. Because the righteous give a lot to God. The righteous want to make a lot of offerings to God. That's why I say it made the altar fat. Go ahead.
And the sweet savor thereof is before the Most High.
Watch this, verse 7.
The sacrifice of a just man is acceptable.
It said the sacrifices of a just man, that is what is acceptable. Go ahead.
And the memorial thereof shall never be forgotten.
And the what?
And the memorial thereof shall never be forgotten.
It say the sacrifices of a just man is a memorial to God that will never be forgotten. That's why he said, blow over those sacrifices with the trumpets for a memorial to you for God. These are the people that departed from wickedness. When they offered to God sacrifices, that's when God accepted them as a memorial that will never be forgotten. That's why it is important. Go to Romans 12. So now, since we don't do that no more, what's the sacrifice now? Romans 12, verse 1.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice.
So now this is the sacrifice now that we present our bodies sacrifice. He don't want the animals no more. He want us. That we present our bodies as a living sacrifice. Go ahead.
Holy, acceptable unto God.
Say holy. That we present our bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God. Go ahead.
Which is your reasonable service.
Because your body fiends for those, or let's say not your body, your flesh. Your flesh fiends for those type of things, for the drugs, the cigarettes, the weed, the fornication, the what else? What else your body fiend for? The pork.
Sure.
The dude drove past said, "I love pork."
Oh yeah. Fiends for anger too.
Yeah, anger.
Sometimes you just want to be mad,
Lust, malice. That's what your flesh fiend for. But if you give your body as a living sacrifice, you deny it. Remember, Christ said you got to deny yourself.
Mortify your members.
Mortify your members. Yeah, we just talked about that last week. That's giving yourself as a living sacrifice because you're denying your flesh. Your flesh wants all those wicked things. But if you're feeding it those things, guess what? Your body is not a living sacrifice. The people that feed those things, you got to start. It's like you starting over. That's the sacrifice. Read verse 2.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
So our bodies is the living sacrifice. Get 1 Peter 2. 1 Peter 2. And we gonna read verse 4.
1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 4. To whom coming as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of God and precious.
So this is talking about Christ. It said Christ is also a living stone. Christ is where where you find life. Go ahead.
Ye also as lively stones.
He said, but we are also those same living stones. What did he mean? Our bodies. Our bodies are also those living stones. Go ahead.
Are built up a spiritual house.
He said, we are built up as a spiritual house. What is the spiritual house? Our bodies. Your body is the temple. Your body is the new tabernacle. Your body is the new spiritual house. But it has to be what? Cleansed. It has to be cleansed before it's a spiritual house. When you still working on yourself, your body is not cleansed. You don't have a spiritual house yet. So he said, ye are built up a spiritual house. Go ahead.
A holy priesthood.
Now remember, he's in Numbers, I think it was Numbers 10. I can't believe where he's at, but he said that we was gonna be a holy priesthood. Everybody was gonna be a holy priesthood to do what?
A holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices.
To offer up spiritual sacrifices. Go ahead.
Acceptable to God by Jesus Christ.
So now these are the memorials. These are the sacrifices now. When that church lady come to you and say, oh, when you tell them you keep the law and they say, oh, you sacrifice? Tell them, yeah. Yes, I do. and you read verse 5, and you say, I offer a spiritual sacrifice, they'll be like, oh, yeah, you right. Yeah. I did that to a pastor before, a female pastor. She was like, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can we get Matthew?
Yeah.
Let's get Matthew 9 and 17. Kind of go off of what he's saying. You have to change. Matthew 9 and verse 17.
We're on the book of Matthew, chapter 9 and verse
I
17.
think we want to start it. Let's start at 16 first.
Verse 16. No man putteth a piece of new cloth unto an old garment.
He said, this is Christ speaking. He said, no man puts a new cloth onto an old garment. Go ahead.
For that which is put in to fill it up taketh from the garment, and the rent is made worse.
So that if you put an old cloth on a new garment, it'll ruin the new garment. Go ahead.
Verse 17. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles.
Nobody puts new wine in old bottles. All right, go ahead.
Else the bottles break.
Well, it's going to destroy the bottle because the bottle is old. It's wear out from years of wear and tear, being drugged. Whatever it went through in its life has wore it down. So you put that new wine there, you wasting that new wine. That old body can't handle it. Go ahead. That old bottle can't handle it.
and the wine runneth out, and the bottles perish.
Because bottles do crack as well. So that wine starts to drip out. Go ahead.
But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved.
So it said they put new wine and new bottles. Both are preserved. But that's saying, y'all, Christ speaking them parables. If you have to create yourself a new body. You can't be your old self keeping the commandments. The commandments cannot go with your old self. The law of God can't. That's putting the spirit with the flesh, the carnal mind with the spiritual mind. They cannot dwell together. So you have to be renewed all the way through. That's why he said your body is the sacrifice. He said you making spiritual sacrifices. You tell people, yeah, I'm the sacrifice now. Me, I'm presenting myself to God. I don't put off the ways of the world. I no longer do what my flesh wants me to do. I fight off those old desires. So when people ask you, do you still sacrifice? Yes, I do. I'm the sacrifice. So all praise to the Most High.
Every day. All praise. Let's get make sure. Let's get Ezekiel 33. So remember, we talked about the memorial of the trumpets was about war, and we looked at some examples about war. The memorials of the trumpet was to blow over our sacrifices, and we looked at now today we are the sacrifices. So now we go look at the other spiritual side about the trumpets. So let's get Ezekiel 33, and we're going to start at verse 1.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 33 and verse 1. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman.
So it say the people are supposed to have a watchman. The people are supposed to have a watchman. Go ahead.
If when he seeth the sword come upon the land.
It said, and when the watchman see the sword coming, he see people coming to fight. Go ahead.
He blow the trumpet.
He do what?
He blow the trumpet.
He blow the trumpet. Go ahead.
And warn the people.
So blowing the trumpet is supposed to be a warning. From who? The watchman. Go ahead.
Then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning.
So whoever heard the trumpet and don't do nothing, didn't take warning, go ahead.
If the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head.
He said if he heard the trumpet, he heard the sound of the trumpet, but he didn't take warning. When he died, his blood is on his own hand. Because they didn't take heed to the sound of the trumpet. Remember, this is a memorial blowing of the trumpets. The trumpets are important in Israel. Verse 5.
Verse 5. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul.
You see that? He that hear the trumpet and take warning, he gonna save his own soul. Go ahead.
Verse 6. But if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned.
So if the watchman don't blow the trumpet to warn the people, go ahead.
If the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand.
He said, if the watchman don't blow the trumpet when he see the trouble come, all the people who die, blood is on his hand. So now we gonna look at the spiritual side, because everybody that's keeping the commandments of God, everybody that's keeping the commandments of God and the faith of Christ, that's in this truth, guess what? You are the trumpets now. We are the trumpets. We are the watchmen now. We are the ones that warn the people. Let's prove. Go to Isaiah 58 and verse 1.
Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not.
Say, cry aloud, spare not. Do what?
Lift up thy voice like a trumpet.
Lift up your voice like what?
Lift up thy voice like a trumpet.
Say, lift up your voice like a trumpet. And do what?
And show my people their transgressions.
And show my people their transgressions. Go ahead.
And the house of Jacob their sins.
So we are the watchmen. We are the trumpets. We are the ones that's now what? Giving warning. This it gets deep. The Most High word goes deep. Now go back to Ezekiel 33. My bad. Ezekiel 3. And we go read verse 16.
Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 16. And it came to pass at the end of 7 days that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel.
That's what we just read in chapter 33. He said, I have made you a watchman unto the house of Israel. Go ahead.
Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me.
You say, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. That's the trumpet now. This is the trumpet now. The watchman. Giving the word is the trumpet. The word of God is the trumpet. Because when you're giving them a warning, you're telling them what? Go ahead.
Verse 18?
Yeah.
Verse 18. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou gavest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand.
So what is the warning? The warning is about their sins. How do you warn somebody about their sins? With the word of God. So now the word of God is what? The trumpet. That's the trumpet. That's why I say lift up your voice like a trumpet. Because the word that's coming out your mouth, that's the warning. Finish that off.
Verse 19. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul.
But you delivered your soul because you gave them that warning. You gave them, you blew your trumpet. You gave them the word. That's the trumpet now. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 14. And we're going to read verse 7.
1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 7. And even things without life giving sound, whether pipe or harp.
It say so it say even things that's not alive give a sound. Pipes give a sound. Instrument, or say a harp, gives sound. Go ahead, read that again.
And even things without life giving sound.
So it say even things that's not alive give sound. Go ahead.
Whether pipe or harp, except they give a distinction in the sounds. How shall it be known what is piped or harp?
So it say all these things give sounds, but each thing have a specific sound. With them having a specific sound, you know what it is. Go ahead.
For if the trumpet give an uncertain sound,
it say if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, go ahead.
Who shall prepare himself to the battle?
It say who gonna prepare himself to the battle? If your trumpet give an uncertain sound, you going to people saying, well, you know, what's these? Joel Osteen. How is he warning you to die and he's smiling? Joel Osteen always have a smile on his face when he teaching the word. That's an uncertain sound. He like, hey, you know, the Most High's gonna kill you if you don't. How's you saying that? That's an uncertain sound. Nobody's gonna prepare themselves because they don't know that's the trumpet. You're supposed to be giving this word, teaching this word with authority. That's how Christ taught it. He had certainty when he teach the word. He taught with authority. He said, repent or die. That's how your trumpet has to be. You got to sound your trumpet with authority. You can't sound your trumpet like Gabe off fences. They better get ready for judgment. Gabe tried to blow the horn. You can't sound your horn like that. You got to read that again, verse 8. You got to teach this word with authority.
1 Corinthians 14 and 8. For if the trumpet give an uncertain sound.
It says if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, go ahead.
Who should prepare himself to the battle?
Who gonna prepare himself to the battle? Meaning also you have to know how to teach it. You have to know how to teach the word. You got to have understanding. Go ahead.
Verse 9. So likewise ye, except ye utter by the tongue words easy to be understood.
It says, except you utter words easy to be understood. Go ahead.
How shall it be known what is spoken?
How should it be known what's spoken? Go ahead.
For ye shall speak it into the air.
And you're going to speak it into the air. So you got to teach this word with authority when you sound your trumpet. Let's get some more. Go to, where we at? Matthew 24.
The book of Matthew. I'm sorry, I'm tripping.
Oh, my bad. Matthew 24 and 29.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light.
So this is future prophecy that Christ is giving. Go ahead.
And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
Go ahead.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
So they say we gonna see Christ coming in the clouds with power and glory. Go ahead.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet.
So we gonna hear those trumpets when Christ comes. When Christ comes, he gonna send those angels what? Blowing those trumpets. We gonna hear those trumpets in the last days when Christ is coming. Go ahead.
And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
And he gonna gather the 12 tribes of Israel. And it's gonna start with what? The trumpet. Go to 1 Corinthians 15. What else the trumpet gonna do? So now we're looking at future prophecy. These trumpets, it ain't over. It's not just a memorial. It's also prophecy. 1 Corinthians 15 and 52.
1 Corinthians 15 and verse 52. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump.
At the last what?
At the last trump.
At the last trumpet. Go ahead.
For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed.
It say, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. When this gonna happen? It said at the last trump. At the last trumpet. So now we see that the memorial, we give a memorial of the blowing of the trumpets because we see this is future. This is for faith and hope in future salvation. All the feast days is talking about salvation. Is about salvation. All of them. It's about a memorial, and it's something that God did in the past to have hope of what God's going to do in the future. All the feast days. Let's get a couple more. Let's get Revelation chapter 8 about these prophecies about the trumps. And we're going to start at 1.
Revelation chapter 8 and verse 1. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And I saw the seven angels which stood before God, and to them were given seven trumpets.
So now he's saying there were 7 angels that had 7 trumpets. This is in the future. Hold this spot. Don't this sound familiar? I'm show y'all why the feast days goes with a memorial, something that God already did for future hope of what's gonna happen in the future. Hold this spot. Go to Joshua chapter 6, read verse 4. We read this earlier. It said the 7 angels with 7 trumpets. Don't that sound familiar? Read Joshua 6 and verse 4.
Joshua chapter 6 and verse 4. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horn.
You see that? This is the same thing that happened back then. It was 7 priests with 7 trumpets. Was that it on that? Y'all finish that off.
And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets.
So now this sounds exactly like the prophecy we read in Revelation chapter 8. Go back to Revelation chapter 8 and read verse 2 again.
Revelation chapter 8 and verse 2. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets.
So this is similar to what we read in Joshua, but here's the 7 angels that's gonna have 7 trumpets. Go ahead.
And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayer of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne.
Jump to verse 6.
Verse 6. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to
It
sound.
say the 7 angels with the 7 trumpets, they about to get ready to sound. Let's read verse 7.
The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up.
So when the first angel, when he sound his trumpet, it said hell and fire on the earth. Hellfire. Hell and fire is coming. This is on the sound of the first trumpet. When that first angel blow that first trumpet, hellfire. 8.
And the second angel sounded, as it were a great mount burning with fire, was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood.
So when each angel sound the trumpet, is to kick off an event. It's to kick off a certain event. Verse 9.
And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died.
Everything in the sea died on that second trump. Go ahead.
And the third part of the ships were destroyed.
Verse 10.
And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And in the name of the name of the star is called wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter.
So the waters was made bitter into wormwood. Now we ain't gonna go deep into the events, but we just want to see that this is the importance of the trumpets. The trumpets kick stuff off. The only people that's gonna know what's going on are the people that keep the commandments. When you hear these trumpets, the only people that's keeping the commandments and the faith of Christ and have faith in the prophecies are the only ones that's gonna know what's going on. Read verse 12.
Verse 12. And the fourth angel sounded.
And the fourth angel, he sounded his trumpet. Go ahead.
And the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise.
So when you go into the next chapter and start reading about read verse 13.
Verse 13. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe.
So destruction, go ahead.
To the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpets of the 3 angels which are yet to sound.
So he said, woe, destruction gonna be to the rest of the inhabitants of the earth, and that's go to everybody else that's still alive go die when these next 3 angels sound their trumpets. So the blowing of the trumpets is important. That's why there's a memorial. Every feast day is a memorial and hope for future prophecy, faith for future prophecy. Every feast day points to Christ and future prophecies. So that's the memorial blowing of the trumpet. We pray that edification went out. Y'all got further understanding on why we have to celebrate this feast day, on why we have to remember the works of the Lord. Each feast day is a remembrance and a memorial to the power of God in the past, in the present, and in the future. So let's close it out with Matthew 26 and get the feast going.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 26, starting at verse 6. Now, when Jesus was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath brought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there's also this, that this woman have done, be told for a memorial of her.
So all praises for that memorial of Mary Magdalene. We would like to say happy memorial of the blowing of the trumpet. And with that, we say shalom.